Indian tycoon Gautam Adani. Since last month, Adani firms have lost more than $120 billion.
That accused Adani of fraud and stock price manipulation. Let's dig further into both the company and the man behind it.
How Asia's richest man lost $80 billion. According to Forbes, India is home to 140 billionaires, making it the third largest country in terms of billionaires after the US and China, with over 7,000 multi-millionaires with a net worth of $10 million or more. The one topping this list has been Mukesh Ambani, amassing a staggering fortune of $83.4 billion. However, Mr. Ambani had been outshined by a friendly neighbour. The richest man in Asia is by no means a stranger to making headlines, although right now it's for all the wrong reasons. Meet Gautam Adani, a business tycoon who had the perfect coming-of-age story till he went from being the second richest man in the world to possibly the curator of the biggest scam anyone has ever seen. Yes, that's right. In January 2023, Hindenburg Research, an investigative research firm based in New York, issued a detailed report titled Adani Group: How the World's Third Richest Man is Pulling the Largest Con in Corporate History. Ever wondered what it's like to lose $80 billion in a jiffy? Buckle up and watch this riveting tale unravel. Chapter 1. Early roots. Gautam Shantilal Adani was born on the 24th of June 1962 in Ahmedabad, Gujarat in India. Believe it or not, he didn't even complete his college education as he dropped out of Gujarat University during his second year. Now, this isn't exactly a rags to riches story, because Adani's father had a relatively successful textile business. However, the aspiring businessman didn't want to follow the standard norms of nepotism, as he aspired to build an empire of his own, and did amazingly well too. So how did this first-generation industrialist begin his journey? It all started the moment Adani turned 18. He decided to bid farewell to his homeland of Gujarat and enter India's very own city of dreams, Mumbai. Here he picked up his first job as a diamond assortment executive and worked long hours just like any other hustler in the city. However, the ambitious Adani quickly realized that this wasn't the life he wanted for himself, so he decided to go back to the comfort of his family, as his brother had just started a plastic production factory in Ahmedabad. Of course, this was just the beginning of his business endeavors, which would ultimately translate into Adani Exports in 1988, which is now famously, or dare I say infamously, known as Adani Enterprises, the holding company of the Adani Group. Chapter 2. Getting to business. It's a rule of thumb for a businessman to be successful, he needs to diversify his portfolio, and Adani knew that better than most others right from the start. He started off by dealing in agricultural and power commodities, but then came along India's highly favourable economical liberalisation policies in 1991. As expected, the feisty entrepreneur pounced on the opportunity it presented to him and immediately expanded his trading business to also include metals, textiles and agro-products. It would only get better for Adani a few years later, as the government of Gujarat awarded him the managerial outsourcing of the Mundra port, the largest port in India. For context, the Mundra port has an estimated capacity of handling over 210 million tons of cargo each year. However, it wasn't always sunny in Mumbai for the upcoming industrialist. In January 1998, Adani and one of his associates were kidnapped by a couple of gangsters, including Fazl-ur-Rahman, a notorious underworld don during that time. This wasn't his last tango with danger, as Adani is also one of the survivors of the tragic terrorist attack at the Taj Hotel in Mumbai on the 26th of November 2008. He managed to survive this ordeal by hiding in the basement of the hotel, along with several other terrified guests. In his own words, "I saw death at a distance of just 15 feet. Chapter 3. Sturdy climb to the top. Fast forward to May 2020. Adani wins the world's largest solar bid by the Solar Energy Corporation of India with a mouth-watering $6 billion. Want to know how he celebrated this? By acquiring a 74% stake in the Mumbai International Airport, which is the second busiest airport in India behind Delhi. Yes, this man owns an airport, and that isn't even the highlight of his career. After various investments throughout 2021, Adani managed to cement his dominance as one of India's India's top billionaires, specifically growing his portfolio in the energy and gas sectors. In February 2022, he surpassed Mukesh Ambani to become the richest man in the country, a title that at one point in time had seemed impossible to usurp. The Adani Group's valuation ballooned to over $200 billion, and Fortune declared him to be the third richest man in the world around August 2022, behind only Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. It only got better in November when he skyrocketed past Amazon's poster boy and hit a net worth of over $150 billion to briefly become the second richest living human being. Definitely something tweet-worthy, isn't it? He also went on to acquire a controlling stake in one of India's leading cement companies, Ambuja Cements, from the Switzerland-based MNC Holcim Group. Things were looking great for India's leading industrialist. His wealth had increased by over $100 billion in a period of just 3 years, thanks to his astronomical holdings in the energy and gas industries in India. He would go on to acquire NDTV as well, which is one of India's leading news networks. This, however, raised quite a few eyebrows because NDTV revealed in a statement that this deal was completed via a third party, and its founders weren't aware of Adani's involvement until after the takeover. It also led to widespread speculation regarding the freedom of editorial news in India, because Adani is close friends with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. However, this wasn't much of a setback when compared to what was going to hit the business mogul in 2023. Chapter 4: Catastrophic Hit. Hindenburg released a report that shocked the investing world and that accused Gautam and his firms of engaging in, quote, brazen stock manipulation and accounting fraud schemes over the course of decades. These claims were backed by an investigation into Adani Enterprises and all of its subsidiary holdings that lasted for 2 years. Hindenburg also accused Adani and his firms of suspiciously using offshore tax havens for their operations while remaining in an astonishing amount of debt. It didn't help that the Adani Group already had the experience of 4 major government fraud investigations. These accusations included money laundering, theft of taxpayer funds, and corruption, which amounted to around $17 billion worth of fraudulent activities. Going back to Hindenburg's findings, Adani and his family members were accused of creating offshore shell entities in tax haven jurisdictions such as Mauritius, where there are as many as 38 such entities, the UAE and the Caribbean islands. They seemingly got this done by generating forged import-export documentation in order to generate fake or illegitimate turnover. This would allow them to siphon money from the listed companies and avoid a huge tax receipt. All of this was backed by the fact that Adani's brothers were involved in a highly controversial diamond trading scam between 2004 and 2005 that had involved the use of offshore accounts. The highlight, though, was Adani's elder brother Vinod, who's an alleged ringleader for all the offshore shell entities, some of which are also located in Cyprus and Singapore. These entities are believed to have been focused on stock parking and stock manipulation. On top of that, they were also laundering money through Adani's private companies onto the listed companies' balance sheets to create an illusion of plausible financial health. In a more technical assessment, here's what Hindenburg had to say about the basis of Adani's allegedly bloated valuations. Take the financials of Adani Group at face value. Its 7 key listed companies have 85% downside purely on a fundamental basis, owing to sky-high valuation. Hindenburg asked 88 questions which they feel should be easy for Adani to answer if he's truly legit and believes in transparency the way he so openly advertises during his interviews. Now, while we do believe in innocent until proven guilty, the stock market isn't as receptive, and it showed. The Hindenburg triggered a 3-day sellout that not only tarnished Adani's reputation, but also wiped out around $80 billion worth of market value off all of Adani's listed companies. For better or worse, this catastrophe also coincided with Adani's FPO launch, which was estimated to fetch around $2.5 billion in additional valuation. As expected, the stock value for the FPO dropped drastically, and only 1.5% of the 45.5 million shares on offer received bids. Eventually, Adani would go on to lose his title of Asia's richest man to Mukesh Ambani as well. Overall, Adani Enterprises wasn't just going to sit back and let things slide further downhill, so they hit back with a counter report spanning 413 pages, where they claim to be compliant with all of the relevant laws and statutes stated by Hindenburg, which is only aiming to tarnish India's reputation. In Adani's own words, This is not merely an unwarranted attack on any specific company, but a calculated attack on India, the independence, integrity and quality of Indian institutions, and the growth story and ambition of India. However, this didn't really help his case, as his stocks continued to plummet and Hindenburg even hit back with their own retort. The research firm clearly stated that the 413-page report only included about 30 pages that were related to their accusations. Furthermore, they've also stated that only 62 of the 88 stated questions were answered by Adani, and these answers have allegedly confirmed or attempted to sidestep Hindenburg's findings. What really must have stung though was this particular quote. "We also believe India's future is being held back by the Adani Group, which has draped itself in the Indian flag while systematically looting the nation." Chapter 5. Conclusion. With everything said and done, Adani is still sitting pretty with a hefty net worth, but he's definitely got a lot on his plate to deal with. While it might look like India's most promising hero has become something of a villain, please remember that these are all accusations and nothing has been proven in court yet. The war between Adani and Hindenburg has only just begun, so it'll be interesting to see how the story unfolds in the end. While there's no clarity on how long this battle is going to last, one thing is for sure: no stockbroker is going to be advising Adani shares for now. Please like, share and subscribe if you found this video helpful, and tap the bell icon below to get notified whenever I upload another. Take care and stay safe.